Okay, Shalom. Shalom. Kwam Yashala. Kohaluimla. Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushai. Bahashem Rakahakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us his beautiful truth, and just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of the Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Awaf. Just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And I just saw this quick little video. And as you can see, it's entitled Realizing We Have 5 Beautiful Children Together. And basically this lady is like, it's kind of like, I guess they kind of like comedically saying that she's saying that the children look like him, whatever. But the point that I wanted to make in this lesson is, because this is something that our people have to know when you first come into this truth. You have to get rid of the color thing. There's no such thing as white people, and there's no such thing as black people. There are different shades of red people on the earth, and there are different shades of brown people on the earth, as you can see from this couple right here. Now, the average person might see this couple and say, "Oh, she's with a white guy," or "Oh, he's with a black woman." But he could actually be an Israelite, and she could actually be an Edomite, because the so-called white race is Edomites. That's their biblical nationality. Esau. They come from Abraham, Isaac, and Esau, and the so-called blacks come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And you can get that account basically in Genesis 25, where it talks about, they were struggling in the womb of our foremother, Rebecca, before they were born. And, the first came out red. So this guy right here, he appears to be an Edomite, but we can't just go by his skin color and say that he's an Edomite, because he just might be an Israelite. Why? Because the seed line goes through your dad. And we've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So you're going to get these little mixtures, of different looks. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about the color. It's about the father, the forefather, the grandfather, the great-great-grandfather, the great-great-great-great-grandfather. So when you look at Matthew chapter 1, and you see that genealogy of our Lord Yahushai, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus, you get that whole list of men. That's going back to all his forefathers. The seed line carried through his progeny or his family tree, his ethnicity, comes from his forefathers, which are Israelites. So again, like I said, this lady right here, she could be a so-called white lady. And we say that, like I said, because the so-called white man during slavery, he slept with a lot of our women, and a lot of kids came out looking like her color, but they were what he is. If you get what I'm saying, I don't want to lose you on this. This is very important to know. You can't just look at people and say, "Oh, that's a black person," because their skin is brown. Everyone with melanin is not the same people. And as it's milk, but it can be a little bit of a dark saying as well, because in America, we've been taught that you can be biracial, that you can be multiracial, that you can be half this, half that, and that's not the case. So I wanted to, get like the video. They got some music playing in the background, so I really don't want to play it like that. So I'll maybe turn it down, but I'll let it play through and kind of pause it on the kids, right? And you're gonna see, that this is the blend between these two people's colors. But the children are what this guy is right here, because he's the one that carried the seed line. He's the one. Those children come out of him, out of his sperm sac, out of his ball sack, so to speak. They didn't come out of her. She was used as an incubator. She was used as ground for that seed to grow in. They're exactly what he is. So let's play a little bit of it. You can see he moves like an Edomite. But here you go right here. Now these are twins. And matter of fact, let me back it up just a little bit. Here we go right here. Let me stop it there. Now these are twins. One of them came out dark. One of them came out, or not dark, but you can see one of them's clearly brown, and one of them is clearly looking like him, which is kind of reddish. Now this is the situation with Esau and Jacob. I didn't even peep that at first. When I first watched it, I didn't realize that they were twins. But let's get the account right here. This is how Jacob and Esau came about. This is a clear cut to these Christians, man. Genesis 25, let's get verse 20. Let's see here. I got to start up some. Let's start at verse 23. So she's complaining. If you're familiar with this story, you know, these children are struggling within her. They're struggling within her stomach. They're giving her a lot of turmoil. She can't sleep at night, whatever. She's rolling over. She's like, damn, why, you know, they kicking, you know, and she goes to the Lord and she acquires, you know, the Lord to see what's going on here. So in verse 23, Genesis 25 and 23, it says, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So are they brothers? Yeah, they're brothers, but the Lord is saying that they're going to be 2 separate nations. 2 different nations, 2 manner of people. They're going to have two different types of mannerisms. They're going to act different. They're going to look different, basically. And they're going to have different cultures. They're, you know, one is going to be spiritual and one is going to be a damn demon overall. Verse 24, and it says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Check it out. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them, right? So they didn't mention Jacob's color because Jacob was the original color as everyone else. This right here was like, you know, somewhat of a, you know, let me see, what was we at? This thing that happened right here in the earth, that was something different going on right here. With a, you know, where there's someone that's other than a brown person that's in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Who is this? You see what I'm saying? So let me go back to it. Right? So those are the twins, right? Here's the son. Here's his son. Now he has some shade too. He got some color as well. And you have to realize too, because Esau, when he was red, he actually married 2 melanated women. I think his first wife was a woman of Ishmael. I think both of his first wives were Hamites. So there are darker skinned Edomites out here in the world, man. All over the world. You don't know who they are. But that's why you go off into the parable of the wheat and the tares, when the Lord said he's going to separate the wheat from the tares. When you go off into that parable, and we can get into that. But let's play a little bit more of this. See, look at that little boy. He do kind of look like the guy, but he got that color. He got some of that color from his mama. All right. There go 2 more. They both got color. If you were to see either one of these little kids, you just think that they little Negro kids. You wouldn't think that, okay, these could possibly be Edomites. And like I said, I don't know if this guy is, but if he's a so-called white man, he's an Edomite, and these so-called black-looking children are Edomites, and they're going into slavery in the kingdom. They're not going to share in the inheritance of the Israelites, man, even though they look the same as us. See, you have people like this out here. It's where, you get people like Tracy Ellis Ross. She's an example of that. She looked like a so-called black woman. But she's not. She's an Edomite because her dad is a damn Edomite. Her mama, Diana Ross, you know what I'm saying? She got a little bit of her complexion. She got, she had a nice little body shape. She got a little bit of a tint to her, but she's a so-called white woman. You got the Maury twins. They look like so-called black women, but they're actually so-called white women. Your Jussie Smolletts and them people, Lenny Kravitz. So it's people out here that actually look like white people that are actually black people. This guy right here, he could be a so-called black man easily. He could be an Israelite. But that's what I was saying. We have to get outside of those colors. You can't keep talking about color this, color that. Because what a lot of Israelites do when they first come into this truth, they just, think of blacks. Slavery of blacks. Deuteronomy 28:68. And they're not moving in the spirit. Because we've been scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth, we're going to look like every damn body. We look like Chinese people, Japanese people, Cambodians, so on and so forth. We look like everybody on the planet. But your seed line has to actually go through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to be an Israelite, man. Right? So let's go into Numbers real quick. Let's get how this rolls as far as your how your race goes, right? Let me start from the top. I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to jump to verse 18. Numbers chapter 1 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month in the second year, after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, after their families, by the house of their fathers. See, this goes by the house of your fathers, not the house of your mothers. With the number of their names, every male by their poll. See? Every male by their poll, not every female by their poll. This is about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not Abigail, Isabella, and Jessica. You know? So it goes on to say, let's get to verse 18 because it's going to talk. See, and then it goes on to name the tribes. These are all men. All the tribes of Israel right here. But verse 18, I wanted to get the point because it goes off into the pedigree. Verse 18, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees. What's a pedigree? It's an ancestry. That's how your family line is drawn. It's a family tree. Pedigree is who you come from. After their families, by the house of their fathers. See that? According to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. So your lineage goes through your father. That's why when a man gets married to a woman, she generally takes on his last name. She leaves off the name of her father's household, and she takes on the man that she's marrying name. And all those children that are born from that marriage, they take on that man's name, her husband's name. Now, if they have sons, the son's name always, his last name always stays the same. But if they have daughters, their name is the same until they grow up and get married to another man, and they take on the household name of the man that they married. And it's always been that way. Now, here in the Americas, you got where, you got these celebrities like Angelina Jolie Pitt. They'll keep their last name / their husband name because they're actors and they celebrities and they want to, hold on to, their name and, the husband name as well, because they're celebrities, so to speak. But other than that, generally, when people get married here, even in the Americas, as fucked up as this place is, they still have sense enough to know that, okay, the woman getting married takes on that man's name. Now, with a lot of births in America these days, because there's not, it's not what it was, a lot of single family homes with the so-called black woman, Hispanic, Native American woman, they have babies, they go to the hospital, and the children generally have their mom name. You see? Or the name of the, they don't even take on the dad name because he was never there to sign a birth certificate. Matter of fact, and they were never married, so to speak. So a lot of children have their mother's last name or their mother's father last name, as opposed to their father, the children's father last name, so to speak, if you get what I'm saying. Right? So it's not what it used to be. The women are not getting married like that no more. It's not like they're that's just not what it is. But anyway, now let's go back, because I want to go off into the parable of the wheat and tares as well. Okay, so let's see here. Salakia. I think that might have been it, though. That might have been, yep, that was it. So she's supposedly standing there mad because, the children, me realizing all my kiddos look like my husband, right? So, but like I said again, she might actually be a damn Edomite. She could be a white woman. So-called white woman. And we say so-called because, like I said again, there's no such thing as white people or black people. It's just different shades of brown people and different shades of pinkish to reddish people on the planet. But Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, came up with those social constructs. Those are social constructs that he came up with. Colors are not ethnicities. Continents, landmass, those are not ethnicities, because the Bible talks about 18 nations in the Bible, and all people on the planet come from one of those 18 nations of people. So we have biblical names. Okay, but let's go off into the parable of the wheat and the tares. And also, I can go off into, let me see. I'd like to pull up a picture of wheats and tares. Matter of fact, let's do that first, to show you that they look exactly alike until a certain part of the growing, which is the harvest. So let's put in wheat and tares, because you got white people out here that you'll think that they black people because of the color that they have. You got black people that's out here that, you know, that look like white people and because of the color that they have. So you have to get rid of that color shit out of your head. Color doesn't matter. Now check this out. Wheat and the tares. They got the parable actually right here too. But let's check out images of wheat and tares, because this is actually something that grows. Because I grew up in the South. When I first came into this truth and I seen that and it was explained by the apostles, I'm like, oh, I remember that. Because they grew up right alongside each other, but you can't tell until they get to the end of the growing process. So here you go. They have a few pictures of them side by side. See, they almost look exactly alike. And you really can't, like I said, as they're growing, you can't tell. You won't be able to tell until they actually grow up, right? See, that's wheat on the left here and tares on the right there. So they look alike. And that's the example of this particular parable that the Lord is going into right here. Matthew chapter 13. So let's go into it. And this is for the newcomers. I know a lot of you Israelites that have been in this for a while, you know what's up with this, but we have to continually go over the fact of there is no such thing as colors when it comes to ethnicity. You know, this pretty much this movie that's being played out before us on this planet is between Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Abraham, Isaac, and Esau, or Jacob and Esau, those two sons that were born of our foremother, which was struggling in the womb, and they've been struggling for centuries. And the final fight is about to come when our Lord Yahushua, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus, comes, and he's going to get the Israelites out of the hands of their enemies, which are the Edomites, mainly. Right? Okay, so now, verse 24 is where it starts. It's entitled, Tares Among Wheat, right? Another parable, this is Matthew 13 and 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. Right? But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath this tares? And he said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Now this is a parable, right? But it's symbolic. You know, it's a similitude, and it's spiritual. It says, Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. So these tares are going to be burnt, but gather the wheat into my barn, right? So now let's go down. Let's get the Lord is going to give the answer to this. Now it says, verse 36 is where it starts. It says, the parable of the wheat and weeds explained, because, you know, it was kind of somewhat of a dark saying, so to speak. Verse 36, Matthew 13 and 36, Salakia. Then Yahushua sent the multitude away, because this is not for everybody. He could have said this before all the multitude. That's another thing. This truth is not for everyone. Everyone is not going to get it. It's not meant for everyone. The Lord don't want everyone to get it. That's why the disciples asked the Lord, well, why do you speak to the people in parables? And he told them straight up, look, these mysteries are for you, not for them, basically, roughly paraphrasing. So when Christians get to telling you about how the Lord loves everybody and everybody can be saved, that's a lie. Not even all of Israel are going to be saved. And, in the way that they say it, only the elect of Israel are going to get this word. The predestinated elect of Israel are the only ones that's going to get this truth. The other ones are not going to get it right off. They're going to have to be born in the future in the kingdom. Right? But anyway, let's move on. Let me start back from the top of this verse. Then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. See? So they want to know, what was you saying? What's popping with that? That was interesting. You know, that was probably, grinding their gears, so to speak. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. So this is talking about him, Yahweh Shai, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus, which his name is not no damn Jesus, man. His name is Yahweh Shai, which means that he's the Savior or deliverer in the Paleo Hebrew. And the true name of the Father is Yahweh, which means that he exists, or the existing one. And that's very, very important to know as well. You have to know those names. You have to stop calling on Jesus, man. That's idol worship. That's a damn idol. Okay, it goes on to say, the field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. There's children of a wicked one here? That's another cut to these Christians talking about everybody can be saved. The scriptures right here is saying that there's a good seed, and they are the children of the kingdom, but their tares, the children of the wicked one. Okay. The enemy that sold them is the devil, which that word devil goes off into deceiver. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of the world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and he shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. So this is when the Lord is saying, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. It's going into understanding by the Spirit. You have to have understanding of what's being said here. And it's, like I said again, it's somewhat of a hard saying to a person that would, hear that and be like, oh, well, you know what? Even the disciples had to ask what that meant. Right? Even they had to ask what that meant. So these people that's out here, they look like Israelites. They look like so-called blacks. The Lord is going to come and separate them all. And people are going to be surprised as to who's who. And you know what? I heard, I'm trying to think, was it the apostles or the one of the elders? But they was talking about, like, how they had these DNA testing hookups, 23andMe, and all these different, DNA places where you can get swabbed and try and see how far you go back and all this other bullshit. One of the elders said that, or it was just him speaking as a man, that he thinks that basically they're trying to gather DNA to actually see who people actually are, to see who's Israelites and who's not. Because again, this is not a color thing, man. It's not a color thing. You have to realize when the so-called white man was going out into the cabin late at night or in the daytime, and he was taking sex, or he was taking box from the so-called black woman, she was getting pregnant a lot of the times. Those kids were coming out dark-skinned sometimes. Some were coming out a lot lighter, and they were working the house, so to speak. But still, Esau was enslaving his own kids. He didn't give a fuck that was his kid. He was still enslaving them. But the point that I want to make is, some of those children, some of those little boys came out as dark-skinned boys. They grew up to be men. They married dark-skinned Israelite women. So now you got a dark color going on, but the children are Edomites. That shit is scary. That shit is like a scary movie. That shit is like a scary movie. When you really think about it, you got people that's actually out here amongst you looking like you, and they're not you. They have a totally different spirit. They're not you. That's why you can see some of these politicians and a lot of you be like, that coon mother, he may not necessarily be a Negro. He could actually be a so-called white man in that skin. That's scary. A Edomite spirit in black skin. And that's what Esau really tried to do. He wanted to get his color back. That goes all the way back to the mark of Cain. See, when people think of the mark of Cain, they just thinking that, he had this big ass scar on his forehead or some shit. The Lord hit him with a crucifix across his goddamn forehead or something. No, Cain lost that melanin, man. He lost that melanin. And he came back reincarnated as Esau, because reincarnation is in the scriptures. I actually wanted to do a lesson on that as well. I might get into that, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Ratazah, on reincarnation, because I watched a movie the other night. I actually bought that movie too, with I can't think of the one so-called black guy that played 12 Years a Slave, I think. But Mark Wahlberg is one of the main characters in the movie, and it's called Infinite, and it's where they was coming back, and they would had lived all these different lives, kept coming back and kept coming back and kept coming back and kept meeting up with the same people that they were pretty much down with in their past life, so to speak. So I could probably jump off into that because it was an interesting part in it where it was being explained. But yeah, reincarnation is in the scriptures, and Esau know that. That's the reason why they do movies like that. But hey, this is this is hopefully our last reincarnation on this planet. I think this is the last one. Me speaking as a man, as far as us Israelites, I think this is the last generation before the Lord actually comes, man. And not much time left. So repent to the Father Yahweh in the name of His Son Yahweh Shai. I just found this to be interesting. Remember the wheat and the tares, they look alike, but they're not the same. And that's a perfect example right here with this video again. Let's play it again. Salakia. See? Check out them twins, though. Look at them. See? One of them, the one little girl right here to the right, she looked like a complete fucking Edomite. But look at her twin sister to the left. Look how dark she is. You trying to tell me that this right here is a complete cut to what these Christians be talking about, man. They can't understand the concept of Esau, Edom, and Jacob, man. They can't understand the concept of that birth. That birth is very important because it's the whole movie. Look at that, bro. Can't make it up. Look, that little, they come on. But they twins. Just like Esau and Jacob were twins. Esau came out looking like this little girl on the right, probably a lot more whiter or so-called whiter. And of course, Jacob was probably a lot more chocolate back then. But anyway, you see the concept here. See? This little dude right here, if he were to grow up, the little boy grow up, he'd marry a so-called black woman, say the color of his mom. Those children are going to be dark. But if he's an Edomite, they're just going to be chocolate-colored Edomites. So, I'm going to end out there. I tried to explain it to the best of my ability, best I could. Hopefully you get it. Those that have an ear to hear, like the scripture says, this is a beautiful story that we're living in, man. So with that, pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwam Yashallah, the Bible Bar.